Guys, hope everyone's doing well. This week I'm not really going to be able to do a woodworking video because I am convalescing from my bicep reattachment surgery that I got as a result of trying to pick up that table saw by myself. So don't do that. That's not a good idea. So I thought I'd just give a quick shop tour. There's the shop cat, who's shy. But starting in the middle, here's my table saw, Craftsman hybrid contractor saw. It's adequate. It's got plenty of power. Does everything I need it to do. I've had to make some modifications. I had to replace the arbor because of excessive runout, which is how I detach my bicep. Had to replace the fence system because it was awful. This is a Vega professional system and gives me about 39 inches of rip capacity, which is pretty good. Added a wing to it so I could have a router table, and I've got a box that the router sits in with some dust collection coming out the bottom, so that's works pretty nice. Here's a workbench I built a few weeks ago based on the J Bates design, which is phenomenal. I love it. I'm going to be adding an end vise as soon as I get my arm back, and then once I do that, I'm going to put in some dog holes so I can really use it to its fullest potential. I've got a nasty looking assembly table. I use it as an outfeed table, and by the way, I can use the workbench as an outfeed table too. Same height, about 1/8 of an inch lower than my table saw, so that works good. I got the design for this from the Wood Whisperer, and it's a quick and easy assembly table. Uses all plywood, and it's very, very, very strong. So I really like that. I've got a place for my sheet goods. It's on casters. Can't remember who I got that idea from, but I think every woodworker on YouTube has got a build regarding one of these, so that's pretty easy to find for yourself. I got some wood storage up here, and I got the idea for the galvanized pipe as the shelving from J Bates. That works really, really well. That's how I hold all my random orbital sander sandpaper. Got to have tunes while you're doing woodworking. This cabinet I built as a result of watching J Bates do a video on basic cabinet construction, which is probably one of the best videos for me, knowledge-wise. I mean, it just showed me everything, and it was amazing. So I was able to build it, and I built mine with all drawers, and my drawers are really big. So like I've got my glues, and if I can avoid falling, you know, all my hand planes and sanders and skill saws and grinders, all that kind of good stuff. This is my tool drawer chest, card catalog, whatever you want to call it. Jimmy DiResta designed this. I kind of modified it, did my own thing with it, but it's phenomenal. And I keep all my screws, all my guitar hardware, a lot of my files and gauges that I do, that I use for making guitar stuff and fretting, all that kind of good stuff. This workbench here I built as soon as I moved into the house, and it's fine, but I think I'm going to replace it soon with another cabinet just like that. I like to have everything in drawers or in cabinets just so they don't get dusty. Shops are dusty. I got a bunch of tools on the wall here. Interestingly, I've got a good set of chisels and a cheap set of chisels. So I don't do anything stupid with the good ones. Not worried about tearing up the cheap ones. And that saves me a lot of time by always having nice and sharp chisels. Here's my clamp rack. Need some more clamps. Don't have enough. Would love to have more. I got some more wood storage over here. Man, that looks messy. The design idea I got from Drew Short over at Rockin' H Wood Shop. And these things are really strong. Pretty good deal there. This is my Steel City planer. It's a good planer. It's just a 2-knife planer. I built it like an extension table, which makes it a little easier to use. I got that idea from Drew also. I can hook it up to my dust collection. Same dust collection that goes to my table saw. Just unhook that hose. The stand that this is on has casters in the back, so I can wheel it around, get it out of the way, position it the way I need it, depending on how long the stock is that I'm planing. Over here I've got a spindle sander, a 10-inch bandsaw, and my cheap drill press. They're all on cabinets that have casters, so they're movable, and the drawers each hold items that have to do with that tool. So I've got drill bits and a fence system that I built for the drill press. Over here I've got some blades and another fence system that I built for this. And by the way, that's a Rikon 10-inch bandsaw. And if you're going to get a small bandsaw, I would highly recommend this one. I do need one that's a little bigger. I'm working on that idea. The only problem, I haven't had any problem with horsepower or anything like that. I just need more resaw capacity. This one's only got like 4 3/4 inches, and you cannot put a riser on this one, so I'm stuck with that. And it would be nice to have 12 inches of resaw. So I'm working on that. And spindle sander. I've got lots of sandpaper, belts, wheels, barrels, drums, whatever you call them, in the storage there. And the nice thing is, when I need to use one, I can just pull the whole cabinet out into the middle of the floor, and that's a good deal. Now I've got dust collection kind of strategically put around the shop. Like, for instance, I've got this one here. There's a floor sweep, but this hose, I'll show you what it's to in just a minute. But like, I've got an outlet here, and that one hose I can move from the spindle sander to the bandsaw with no problem. I have a pipe going across the ceiling, and that goes to the table saw, and I can also move it to the router, and I can use it on the planer. The greatest thing I have in my shop is this miter saw station. It's designed by John over at ibuilditca.ca. Fantastic. All the dust basically just falls into a drawer, and once a month or so I can just take the drawer out, dump it, or vacuum it out, and works great. Underneath is plenty of storage I use for blades. I've got my work sharp that I use to sharpen my chisels and plane blades and all that kind of stuff under there, so that works good. I've also got this fold out wing to give me some capacity, and on this side, and then on the other side, my roll out cabinets are the same height as the bed of the miter saw. So I can, I've got a lot of capacity. I've got some room for some lengthy material, and the sheet goods storage rack there is on wheels, so I can actually slide that out if I need even more capacity. So moving to the next room, I have my 6-inch Grizzly Jointer, perfect for what I need. I've never needed one bigger. The biggest thing I make is a guitar, generally, that I need to flatten my stock. So pretty good for me, and it's on wheels, so I can just roll it into the other room, hook it up to that hose for my dust collection. Works great. This is my Grizzly drum sander, and it works okay. It does what a drum sander does, very slowly, but it does work. And also that's on wheels, so I just roll it over there, hook it up to the hose, and I've got good dust collection. And by the way, here's my dust collector. Started out in its early life as a Harbor Freight, and like everyone else says, the bag is worthless. The plastic bag on the bottom is worthless, but the motor's good. So I built a Thien, whatever you call it, dust separator, and it sits on top of a 55-gallon drum, and I've got it vented to the outside instead of through the bags, so I don't even have to worry about filters. And back here I keep a lot of my jigs for my guitars, for making my guitars, and a lot of things going on back here. Eventually I would love to expand the shop into this room, but it's a wreck right now, so I can't do that. And I've got a lot of jigs and things hanging around. There's my wonderful box joint jig, which is fantastic. If you watch one of my previous videos, you can see how that works. I've got a jig over here that is for cutting fretboards. Well, it's for radiusing fretboards. And this little thing here slides back and forth. It's on a pivot, so it gives me, I put a router on that slide there, and as it goes down the whatever wood I'm using, and as long as you're giving it that action, it will radius the fretboard perfectly, which is what you need. So, oh, and then here's my air cleaner. Got the idea. I think it's a joint design, J. Bates and Stone and Sons. I just got a 20-inch box fan in there and 4 air filters, and that does a pretty good job. Of course, I have my Gibson volume knob, which does my speeds, and I have a Telecaster knob, which I can open it up and change the filters. This is a cabinet that basically is for all my wood scraps. I hate throwing away something that's big enough I can use. So all my things that I can't stand to throw away, I keep in there. So there you go, guys. I hope you got some good ideas, and if you see something you don't like or something you think I could do better, please give me a shout. I'd really appreciate it. So hope you all have a good week, and there you go.